going to channel Cammy one more time to tell everyone to believe it.
Thanks, Naruto.
I don't know. I'm doing the very best that I can.
Like no one ever was.
Plus Ultra, guys!
Oh, plus Ultra.
I'm just trying to take my own voice and, like, just pep it up, like, 50 degrees, and it just sounds like I'm mocking her, which I'm not trying to do. Cammy, I'm so sorry. きっと約束だよ。いつかまた同じ笑顔で
Hello everyone and beyond, and welcome to yet another episode of the Annie Chat Box. I am your host today, Jonathan Joestar. With me, we have the producer, Cassie.
Hi. Yes, that's me.
And my fellow gentleman of the box, Craig.
What's up, Internet? How's it going?
I'm spazzing out a little bit because I'm channeling Cammy for this episode. I'm her spiritual medium.
Oh.
She's going to possess me later on so I can give her final impression. But it's glitching out my brain a little bit, so apologies in advance. It's hard to channel someone so perfect.
Yeah.
This is episode 64. And we are going to be finishing off the last of our impressions today.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, as usual, you can message us at twitter.com/theanniechatbox or email us at anniechatmail@gmail.com. And of course, you can always hear us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and of course YouTube, as well as if you find it in your heart of hearts to throw any money our way, you can donate to us at Patreon via patreon.com/AnnieChatbox. So yeah, seasonal splash tank.
Round 3. Final round.
Round 3.
Final showdown.
Fight.
You can't escape the wheels of fate.
Can't escape from crossing fate?
That too.
Yeah?
Didn't one of the games have something about a wheel of fate?
Yeah, the wheel of fate is turning.
I just combined them together.
Yeah. I'll Blaze Blue, though, still. You're in the right wheelhouse.
I'm doing the best I fucking can, guys.
Yeah, it's not good. There's a lot of fucking Blaze Blue games.
So, Craig, I believe you're up first.
Yep. Final show for me this spring 2018 anime season is Hisone to Masotan, aka Dragon Pilot Hisone and Masotan. Studio is Bones. You know what they've done, 'cause they're fucking a big deal. You know, they're creating My Hero Academia, their hype train, and they'll never let it die. But other than that, they've created shows that I really like. Mob Psycho 100 being one of them, and Noragami and its sequel, Arigato. Before I dive into the synopsis, I just wanted to drop some fun facts about the show for you. It's an original IP by Bones. They haven't done those in quite some time. Mario Okada is the series composition/writer. And, yeah, so let's break it down with the synopsis. Straightforward and innocent Hisone Amakasu is a self-defense force rookie stationed at the Air Self-Defense Force's Gifu base. She was struggling with the fact that she sometimes hurts people unintentionally by her innocent words, and decided to join the Air Self-Defense Force, hoping to maintain a certain distance from people. This decision led her to a fateful encounter, which profoundly changed her life. It was the OTF. The OTF means Organic Transforming Flyers. The OTF Dragon, actually, hidden in the base, and it chose Hisone as his pilot. When it soared into the sky with Hisone, her fate as a dragon pilot was decided. It is said that the dragons have a key to the future of the world. Okay, so, I didn't know what to think about this show, mostly because no one's really fucking talking about it. I haven't heard one peep or another about it. It's licensed by Netflix, so it'll come out whenever the fuck they feel like it with this show. First and foremost, the description is apt. This is a girl that essentially looks like she graduates high school, and instead of, she writes down a career paper form, and instead of college, she checkmarks employment and then joins the Air Force to try and essentially create the distance between her and people, because she is blunt. She speaks her mind, and it kind of rubs people the wrong way. The star of the show, obviously, the fact that it looks cute. It's animated very well. I believe they have a pretty decent budget. The character designs are pretty interesting. It's not like a Persona situation with a subsidiary of A1 Pictures and A1 proper. It seems like in this case, Bones had enough money to spare with this original idea, and My Hero this time around. Within the first 3 episodes, we were introduced to Hisone and Masotan, and their bond. Basically, Hisone in episode 1 is told to go deliver some papers to Hangar 8, and that's where she discovers the dragon. The dragon eats her and nearly digests her. They have to essentially make the dragon vomit in order to spit her out. In episode 2, you meet the rival, which is a girl who's a kind of a bitch to her for no apparent reason, but then you realize she's being a bitch to her because she wanted to be the dragon pilot for Masotan. And you get to meet the scientist who develops her gear, which makes it so that she can be swallowed by the dragon and not actually be dissolved by the stomach acid and whatnot. So basically, the dragons are like creatures that are hidden in plain sight as fighter jets. They are, in ancient times in Japan, they were hoarded as like treasures and whatnot and used for wars. So as the shogunate dissolved and the modern government and Japan started up, it was up to the Air Force to hide these dragons. This is information dropped in episode 1, mind you. So when Hisone is able to pilot the dragon, it transforms into a fighter jet, and she's able to control it by essentially like an LED display with her head, with like her special gear. By episode 3, we discover that there was a pilot before Hisone, and she gets the TAC name, aka like dog tags or nickname in the Air Force. She's called Hisone. Pretty straightforward with that. This show's cute. I don't know if there's any real... I don't know if this is really a big journey. I think it's just like a girl trying to discover herself and try to find friends despite her being blunt. She even in the Air Force, she rubs people the wrong way, and she kind of apologizes for it and actually feels like shit. And basically, by the end of it, the commander of the Air Force says, "Oh man, she's synchronizing with the dragon surprisingly well, given the fact, man," and then like teases out some like she's the chosen. From what I've gathered and looked up on the show, there are going to be more characters and dragon pilots introduced. In the first 3 episodes, we have not seen them, so let that whet your appetite. But it's cute, give or take. I myself wasn't really grabbed by anything outside the animation style, so that being said, I'm going to sink this one. I don't want to be mean to it when I say it sinks into dragon vomit. So I'll just say it sinks into the ocean because Hisone can't control the dragon, and it just crash lands into the water.
Didn't like Cammy drown like the
Yes.
unusual family in the ocean?
Yep.
And wasn't somebody like swimming in the ocean? I don't remember which. Whose impression was that?
It was Junk Dog. He was swimming as a part of his regimen.
So he's just swimming through this ocean, and there's like a family drowning, and I guess your girl just crashing a fucking dragon into the ocean at the same time.
Yep.
These people need a new location.
They really do. But yeah. Cass, you said this people are hot and cold on this show from what you've seen. I haven't seen jack about this. So
from what little I've seen, also, yeah, I don't know. Like, people just seem to be kind of hush-hush on it for the most part because, again, it's a Netflix-acquired show, and unless you're in Japan, it's highly implied you're watching it through not-so-legal means. We're not going to say where we are located currently, so we don't get in freaking trouble.
Yeah.
But a lot of people seem to be avoiding talking about that because of that reason, but I don't know. Like, I haven't watched it myself, but the people who I know who have said, Studio Bones is doing what Studio Bones does. It looks nicely animated. Yeah. From what I've heard. Yep. And it's a fun show to watch. That's all I've heard. I haven't heard anything bad.
Yeah. I mean, the dragon's cute. Masotan's cute. And it's unique character designs. So, wait for the inevitable streaming release, y'all.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Would you recommend the show even though you're syncing it?
Yes, I would. I myself am probably, I iced it, as in I'm put it on hold on my mouse/Kitsu, and I'm going to probably just, when it gets available for batch streaming or, the binge, I'll probably just binge it.
Speaking of binging, John.
So I believe that was a transition to me, because my final pick of the season is Full Metal Panic: Invisible Victory. And this being the fourth series in the franchise, and is set immediately after the second raid. Although I have seen the original Full Metal Panic, I never actually watched all of the second raid in one sitting to know if I've seen it all. So I had to marathon the second raid before I could even start this one. But anywho, my anime list synopsis for this simply says it sets after the second raid, and so I had to go to Anime News Network for a synopsis instead. Also, this is animated by Zebek, which is a third studio to handle this property, after Gonzo and KyoAni. But anywho, the synopsis goes: 9 months have passed since teen soldier Sosuke Sagara first became Kanami Chidori's covert protector. In that time, Mithril has been remarkably successful at thwarting Amalgam's efforts, but this has only made Amalgam more determined. Leonard Testarosa's visits with Tessa and Kaname are just preludes to all-out attacks that begin with global communications disruptions. Kaname's status as a whispered makes her one of Amalgam's main targets, which means that any semblance of a peaceful life at Jindai Municipal High School is now over for her. So yeah, basically, shit's getting real, and this seems like the actually building up to the finale of the series that we never got. And one thing I'm going to throw out there, again, third studio to hold this property, but watching through them, beyond this one's now using CG around the place, in ways that I'm not really saying that's a bad thing, it's just, okay, CG. That's about the only difference that you can, and of course, the quality of the animation overall, but the art style across all 4 series has been pretty consistent. So, and also they've brought back the original voice actors again. But one thing I'm going to say, if you like the Full Metal Panic series for its humor, you're probably not going to be super thrilled with this because it is serious mode. Like, straight off the bat. Shit's hit the fan, and it is time to take things seriously, which, admittedly, the second raid was pretty serious. There wasn't very many humorous moments for it. Well, there was some. At least in the first 3 episodes I have seen of Invisible Victory, there's not really any room for that. It is straight off on the bat.
So you're saying it's a direct continuation of Second Raid, like, essentially, like, picking up right where left off, then?
Pretty much. Not long after where Second Raid left off. It does feel like it is bringing the conclusion and answering the questions that Second Raid never answered. So for that reason, I'm really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
My only real hesitation for swimming it is down to the fact that you do need to at least have watched the original Full Metal Panic and Second Raid before you start this. But I'm thinking I really should swim this, and if it comes down to it, I'll probably do a solo review of it if it comes to it, because I feel like we need to talk about this series because it is. I mean, it originally started airing in 2002, but there are a lot of fans of this franchise, and I personally am really glad to see it come back. And hopefully, this is going to be the finale we need.
The time gap between Second Raid and this was pretty long, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Kind of like Code Geass R2 and R3, and let's see if that was worth the wait for that one in the summer.
Indeed. But at least Code Geass R2 sort of ended at a point that you can just say, okay, that's it, it's done.
True.
Second Raid kind of was like, okay, that's the end of this series, so what about all these plot points that you threw at us and have left unanswered? You gonna get to those anytime soon?
No.
And now it seems like they finally are, so yeah.
Rad.
Yep.
Well, we have a lot of time before we have to talk about it, so we'll see how it goes. I gotta probably watch it with the significant other anyway. Maybe I could even pull him on that one.
Good.
Maybe.
He's kind of like an honorary guest host now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy we're getting more of those. They're fun.
Second Raid was 2005.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
July through October 2005.
I even feel like I should have rewatched the original Full Metal Panic before I watched Second Raid, because it's been a while since I watched the original Full Metal Panic too.
You know what? That actually transitions really well into my thoughts on my next pick. Yes, if you don't mind me taking over.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so my last pick for the season is Piano no Mori, the television series. And this one is produced for us by Fukushima Gainax, which was responsible for a few other things. It seems relatively new. It looks like they worked on Masamune Datenikkel, whatever the frack that is, Omoi no Kakara, and Flying Babies.
That's terrifying.
Flying Babies.
That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, apparently Flying Babies is about a group of young girls and their struggles as they aim to become hula girls. Which actually sounds kind of cute. But, they don't seem to have a whole lot of... I'm gonna click awkwardly and look at Flying Babies. I'm intrigued. There's literally no information about this.
Well,
it's under even aired, it says not available. So I don't know if this one's just going to be a future thing they're going to be working on or what. I just was reading stuff off of my anime list, so maybe, who knows, maybe the Hula Girls show will be interesting. I don't know. But the point is that this studio, although it sounds very similar to Gainax, it doesn't seem to be affiliated to it. It's Fukushima Gainax. So anyway, I wanted to transition with this one because this actually, this IP had a movie previously by the same name, Piano no Mori, and it was a movie that was released in 2007, and I watched it when I was in college. And not college. Well, I did watch it in college, but it didn't come out when I was in college. I watched it my freshman year of college. And it was animated by Studio Madhouse.
Nice.
In comparison. And I think that's one of the reasons why this show was not maybe my favorite of the season, because comparing a newer studio to the Madmen at Madhouse is not necessarily, I guess, the most fair assessment. But I'll get more to that later. But I kind of wish that I went and watched the movie again first, just so I can make a more accurate comparison. It's not a continuation, obviously. It seems to just be more of a retelling. But I can't remember exactly how the story went in the movie. I just remember loving the fuck out of the movie and how gorgeous it was. And the story is still relatively the same, but it seems like the story in the anime is more like fleshing things out, as it were.
Nice.
Taking a lot of things that were definitely in the movie, but also adding a little bit more to how people meet each other, interact, and so on and so forth. And I kind of wish that I had went back and watched the movie so I could make a more accurate, comparison.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, what can you do? But I'm not here to talk about the movie, although I highly recommend it, and I will probably go back and watch it in the next couple of weeks, just because, hey, I'm kind of inspired to do so now. But the animation is the first thing I want to talk about, because it is one of the first things that turned me off when I started episode 1. Yeah. The character designs are a little derpy, but I was okay with that. I think they kind of add their own little charm. The problem is that the show likes to do something where it has almost really pretty animation, and then it'll follow it with, 2002 PS2 graphics.
That's
CG.
That's bad.
It looks like it's from, a really early, PS2 game, or, even a late PS1 game. It's really, really gross, actually.
Are there CG bears in this?
There are no CG bears. There's a lot of CG fingers playing the piano.
Oh.
And sometimes they take the boy Kai. I mean, I probably should have talked about the synopsis first, but hey, I'm going all out of order. This channeling Cammy thing is, my body's all out of whack. I might even just start talking about her picking stuff. No, I must resist.
Wait, what?
I'm pretending to channel Cammy. Okay. Anyway, point of the matter is that I'm kind of going out of order this one, but there's a reason for it. Because the animation is really the biggest flaw for this show. We talked about, before we even started recording, Golden Kamui, and how its animation can sometimes really turn me off and actually resulted in me dropping the show. I think that effect might happen with this show for a lot of people too, especially because the story goes a little slow. It's not bad, it just goes a little slow. And there are some moments of I wouldn't say melodrama, but convenience towards the first 3 episodes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And also how things are presented sometimes are a little janky. And I think that doesn't reflect well when you also put it together with the art, because it's doing basically the same thing, where you'll have these moments where it's really pretty and interesting, and then literally in the same exact scene, it'll go to weird, gross CG. One of the best examples of this is there's a moment where Kai, one of the main boys of the show, is playing the piano in the forest, which of course, Piano no Mori is piano forest, or, the piano in the forest, or the forest piano.
Mm-hmm.
So he's playing this piano in the forest, and there's these fireflies going around, and it shows his facial expressions, and he's really enjoying playing the piano. And it has a close-up shot of his face, and the piano, and the fireflies, and it's this isn't the best animation in the world, but I can forgive you, because it's just, I could see the effort that's going into this.
Yeah. And
then it'll pan out to a scene. It's the same scene in the forest with the fireflies, but Kai is suddenly a PS2 character in a video game trying to play the piano. It's gross. It's just really bad, and I was kind of offended.
Yeah.
It completely took me out of the moment.
These small studios, man, they get small budgets by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and it sucks.
Because Conway has the exact same situation where, like, they have the CG fire or the bears, but then, like, you get good facial expressions with the characters at times, but then you see another CG bear and you're like, okay, I can get it. Limitations, but it can take you out of the moment.
Now, that being said, let's talk about the story. And the synopsis for this one goes as such. A tranquil tale about two boys from very different upbringings. On one hand, you have Kai, born as the son of a prostitute who's been playing the abandoned piano in the forest near his home ever since he was young. And on the other, you have Shuhei, practically breastfed by the piano as the son of a family of prestigious pianists. Yet it is their common bond with the piano that eventually intertwines their paths in life. And that's the story. And I think they're doing a really good job of presenting it. There's moments of jank, like I said, where, things happen for, convenience sake. And in some cases, I'm not a very big fan of how slow the plot will move and then very quickly speed up just for convenience sake. I think that the movie does this a lot better, which is interesting because it's going to have overall a much shorter run time. But we'll see how that goes. That being said, if the story sounds interesting to you, I would say go and watch the movie. It's the same plot. It's still about the two boys, the son of a prostitute and then the son of an actual prestigious family who both play the piano because they love it. They both become friends. They both become rivals. And it's also important to point out that at the beginning of the movie and also at the beginning of the show, these kids are kids. They're in late elementary school at best.
Mm-hmm.
They're very young. So you get to see the difficulties that both of these kids struggle with and where innate genius can sometimes cause problems and where hard work can also cause problems. And that's one of the things I loved about the movie. And I do think that they're starting to tackle that in the show. I don't think it's a bad show. I think that, honestly, if it weren't for the janky animation, I could even forgive some of the janky moments in the story. But because it's janky storytelling and janky animation, I just can't find it in my heart to pass this. I don't think it's the worst show of the season. I don't even think it's necessarily a bad show. I just think it's forgettable, and why would you watch this when you could just watch the movie?
Yeah, I can get that.
So, I fully recommend the movie. And if you can forgive, odd pacing and kind of crappy animation, you can give this a shot. I wouldn't say to completely avoid it like the plague, but I can't recommend it. And I'm not going to make us continue it. I know that Cami is watching this show with another friend, and maybe she can, at the end of the season give us a yay or nay about whether it got better.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly probably going to drop it and just go back and rewatch the movie. So if there's anything I can say about, Piano no Mori, the animation, or the TV series, or what have you, at least it inspired me to go rewatch the movie, which I'm going to do.
It is 24 episodes.
That might be why. I didn't look at the episode count, but if it's going to be 24 episodes, maybe that's why the animation is so janky. Maybe they're trying to save it for the ending.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, you can watch the first couple of minutes of this show, and, it has a older version of Kai, the boy who plays the piano in the forest, walking on stage, and it's a slow pan out from the stage, and it's completely CG.
You talking about all this piano just makes me want to watch Your Lie in April.
Right? I don't know what it is about shows about pianos, but I really love it. Maybe it's just music, too. I just love listening to people play instruments.
Yeah, I can get that.
And I like when people, invoke the power of music. And that's why I definitely recommend the film. Maybe we can even watch the film together as a group or something and review it later on. But
maybe.
As a special or something. But for now, this show it's not really worth your time.
No.
I mean, I'll keep my eye out on this studio. Maybe they'll make something interesting in the future. Because they definitely have potential from some of the stills in this show. And just some of the moments of movement when they're playing the piano. But a lot of it is just very still framey. And janky CG, and it's just not a good time. They're doing their best. They're not completely shit in the bed, but it's just ugh. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and sink this into the tears of my disappointment.
Damn.
I was really looking forward to this show. This was one of my most anticipated shows. I think it was my number 2 right behind Wotakoi, and not gonna lie, I'm kind of bummed.
So it's now gonna crash into the ocean along with Hisone and the...
I mean, my tears might be as salty as the ocean at this point. But no. But hey, let's go ahead and let me channel Cammy.
Are you... Okay, you're meditating. That's what you're doing.
Yes, I must... Shh, you're ruining the process. Hi, everybody! Cammy here. Totally me. So, I am channeling Cassie's body to give this lovely review of Layton Mystery Tanteisha. Sorry, there's a break in our connection. Okay, I'm gonna take back over. I'm kicking Cammy out of my body. I just want to talk regularly. So anyway.
Too much energy, too
much mana. I'm not feeling so hot. Anyway, I'm sure she'll forgive me. Besides, Get was probably poking her face in the car there. She's on the road right now. Anyway, so impression of Layton Mystery Tanteisha. Katori no Nazotoki Fairu. The studio is Linden Films, which also did Poco's Udon World, a show that means actually a whole lot to both me and Cammy, so that's cool. They also did Koita Uso, which we don't talk about, and Yomada-kun and the Seven Witches, which I've heard is pretty good. I watched the first episode of that a long time ago. It was okay animated.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about Cammy's impression. She wrote me a nice little Word document. Being a newbie to the famous Professor Layton detective game franchise, this anime starring Layton's daughter named Catriel has me intrigued, she says. The show has a simple premise with a small self-contained mystery for Katori to solve with her apprentice Noah and her talking dog Cheryl. That sounds cute. The art is simplistic in design but vibrant in colors. The animation moves fluidly when it needs to. Props to Linden Films for their Sakuga moment when Katori has cracked the case in each episode. It's very charming. Interestingly, this is very much a kids show. Not only as the games attracted younger audiences, but also in this production. Whenever a clue is found in the show, an animated magnifying glass comes in to highlight the clue. When Katori has cracked the case, her assistant Noah addresses the audience, a la Steve from Blue's Clues, and asks, "Hey everyone, can you figure it out?" While jarring at first, the stories are also told with a surprising amount of maturity and charm that balances out the fact that it is an anime for quote-unquote kids. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course, she says, with a winky face. Overall, I enjoyed my time watching Layton Mystery Tanteisha. It was fun and a bit refreshing from the typical anime I see each season. Catriel is also a very fun lead. She's bright, silly, and voiced by the one and only Kana Hanazawa. If you're a big fan of the Professor Layton franchise, I highly recommend this series. Not only does it seem produced with respect and care to its source material, but I have also heard it may expand on some plot points that were left open-ended from the game that it's based on. However, with its high episode count, which is in the 50s, and episodic nature, I don't think it's best suited to us as hosts or to our listeners. For the purpose of our podcast, it will sink gently into a small teacup of my tears. Oh, well, I guess me and Cammy are on the same freaking boat.
Dang.
Only mine's more disappointment. It seems like hers seems to be more from feels. Apparently episode 2 threw her into a loop and hit her with the feels. So I think these are good tears and not salty ones. But the biggest compliment I can give the show is that now I want to hunt down all the Professor Layton games for my 3DS, she says.
That's great. That's high praise. I like that. I like that a lot.
That's good. I get that. And you know what? Kids shows can be fun. So who knows? Maybe I'll check out the first couple episodes just because. I know that I'm really enjoying Hugtail Precure from this season, and we even passed that one. And I don't know. Sometimes you just need that happiness, you know? That little
I didn't realize that this show was a year-long one. That's actually surprising in my opinion.
I mean, maybe. I know the Professor Layton series is super popular, and also, like she said, this is based, this is targeted towards kids, and kids shows do tend to be more long-running. like because they're more episodic in nature. They can be produced more frequently, and also it's normally a dedicated team as far as I'm aware. So I mean that doesn't surprise me too much, especially if it's a good show.
Wonder if they're gonna adapt the games. That'd be pretty cool, kind of like Pokemon does with their anime.
I don't know. She does say that it might answer some open-ended questions from the game, so I'm guessing that it's going to at least take something from that. I didn't know that it was based off Professor Layton's daughter, though, so that's pretty cool. And from what little I've seen of like the animation from the show, from like stills and stuff, it does look really, really cute. So that's good. This has been kind of a short episode, guys. We're all really tired, and without Cammy to pep us up, and with me trying to channel her, I think we're all kind of dead.
To be fair, we just wrapped up our last things. It could have been worse. It could have been 10 minutes before the recording. I was dying. I have Mountain Dew now.
Thank God. I'm gonna channel Cammy one more time to tell everyone to believe it!
Thanks, Naruto.
I don't know. I'm doing the very best that I can.
Like no one ever was.
Plus Ultra, guys!
Oh, plus Ultra.
I'm just trying to take my own voice and like just pep it up like 50 degrees, and it just sounds like I'm mocking her, which I'm not trying to do. Cammy, I'm so sorry. Anyway, John, I did organize the list, so we have all of our sinks at the beginning and all of our swims at the end, if you want to read through them for everybody.
I did notice that.
You're welcome.
Time to... I suppose we should round up all of our sinks and swims from this season. And let's get the sinks out of the way first. So, we are sinking Cutie Honey Universe, Maho Shoujo Ore, Comic Girls, Maho Shoujo Site, tentatively sinking My Hero Academia Season 3, Sword Art Online Alternative, Gun Gale Online. We are also sinking Golden Kamui, Xian Pin Jitang, Persona 5 The Animation, Junshiki Pandora, Layton Mystery, Tanteisha, Katori no Nazotoki File. I butchered that so bad.
I mean, I did too, and I'm normally better at reading Japanese titles. We'll just say it's in the air. The air's poisonous. You can't speak Japanese if you breathe it. Ah!
Well, she's gone.
We also sinking Piano no Mori and Hisone to Masotan.
A lot of shows.
Quite a lot of sinks this time. But we are swimming Wataku ni koi wa muzakashi. Tadakun wa koi wa shinai. Megalobox. Ginga Eiu Densetsu Dainutesis, or Legend of Galactic Heroes, Steins Gate Zero, and Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory. Wait. Oh, and I somehow missed Gundam Build Divers. We are swimming Gundam Build Divers as well. I was like, wait.
Do I have it in there?
Yeah, it's in there. Just somehow I skipped over it completely.
Well, that's all of them, right? That's 7 shows, so.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Craig, did you want to introduce your lifeboat from the season?
Okay. I volunteer as tribute from District 7 this anime season. A little Netflix ONA, original net animation, Aggretsuko, based on the Sanrio characters of Aggretsuko. Originally, this property was in Japan, and it had like 100 episodes, and they're like 3 minutes of pop. Recently, around the beginning of April, Netflix dropped all 10 episodes of this 10 to 15 minute episode anime on their series or platform. And, well, at this point, I think all of us, I don't know if John's watched it, but all of us have watched it, and it's pretty good. It's really relatable in a millennial age where a lot of social media and office work happens, and dub is pretty rock solid. I'm assuming sub is also rock solid.
It'll be fun. I think most of us have actually already watched it except John, so.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I have been meaning to because, everyone else talking about it so much and singing high praises for it. So it did catch my attention too. So I've been meaning to watch it, just haven't. So
reason I suggested it also because of the Netflix binge culture, such in varied entries pretty low, and short episode count along with short running times on episodes. I was like, okay, I can watch this in literally maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops.
Can I talk about one more complaint about Piano no Mori that I completely spaced on? Since we have tons of time. I'm actually... Okay. There isn't really an opening. It's just a song with no lyrics, lightly playing, with stills.
I mean...
It's like an ending. It's like an ending instead of an opening. Like, Megalobox's opening is more interesting.
Oh god, that's sad. I don't like them. I don't like the Megalobox opening at all.
And weirdly enough, the Piano no Mori ending has at least a couple of frames of movement. Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry, I forgot to rant about that, and now I'm done. This has been kind of a sloppy episode, guys. I hope you'll forgive us, but we'll be back on track next week with some fun stuff.
Yeah.
For now, I want to sleep.
Fair enough.
Forever.
Forever. It's the last episode. We're all going into a cryo freeze. Holla, Captain America.
Anywho, yeah, that's been the last of our seasonal splash tanks for this season. That has been a Chatbox episode 64. And if you want to catch us on Twitter, got twitter.com/theAnnieChatbox. You can email us at anniechatmail@gmail.com. Do you disagree with any of our sinks or swims? Feel free to yell at us or express your opinions. And again, you can catch us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, or SoundCloud, or YouTube. And donate to us if you find it within your heart of hearts via patreon.com/AnnieChatbox. But for now, we must bid you adieu.
Peace!
Oyasumi!
Bye-bye!